Before we start, let's test your pronunciation. How do you say this word? Not the day, the word. What about this one? Did you say the L? And what about this one? 5 letters, but almost no sound. So did you say Wednesday, salmon, and Q? If you got all 3 right, that is really impressive. But stay with me because we are going to look at 15 words that are tricky to pronounce in English. And the last words in this video confuse even the most advanced learners. And welcome back to our channel, where learning English with us at the World Language School is easy, practical, and free. So, how did you do? If you got those 3 right, that is a great start. If not, don't worry. Some of these words trick almost everyone. Now let's begin with the most common pronunciation mistakes in English. Let's look at this word. Yes, it's the first one we looked at before, and the pronunciation is Wednesday. Many students say Wednesday because they want to pronounce all the letters that are present in this word. But it is much easier. You need to simply say Wednesday. Repeat, Wednesday. Again, Wednesday. Exactly. So what happens here? The spelling makes it look like it is long and complicated, but in spoken English, it becomes much simpler. You do not want to pronounce every single letter. So it's like the middle part of the word disappears and the word simply becomes Wednesday. For example, I have a meeting on Wednesday. Now let's move at some easier looking words that many learners get wrong. The word is easy and it is this one. Okay, lots of syllables. In natural English, we say vegetable. Repeat after me, vegetable. Again, vegetable. Notice how the middle section of the word becomes much smaller. English often reduces unstressed syllables, and this is a perfect example. An example sentence. You should eat more vegetables. Okay, one more time, vegetable. Okay, now the next word has exactly the same problem. Have a look. How would you say that? The correct pronunciation is comfortable. Repeat after me, comfortable. Again, comfortable. As you can see, there's lots of letters in this word that we do not pronounce. So let me give you an example sentence. This sofa is really comfortable. So, as you might know, it is important to remember that in English, spelling does not always tell you how many sounds to pronounce. And this next word is a perfect example of that. This word is short, but it is surprisingly difficult. This word. Okay. In natural English, we say something like clothes. Very easy. Clothes. Repeat after me. Clothes. And let me give you an example of this word in a sentence. I need to buy some new clothes. So one more time, clothes. So far we have looked at words that are common, everyday, and easy to recognize, but very easy to mispronounce. Now let's move on to a pair of words with silent letters that confuse a lot of learners. Look at these words. Here's the question. Did you pronounce the L? Well, Let's start with the first one, the fish. Many learners say salmon, but the standard pronunciation is with a silent L. So we say salmon. Okay, repeat after me, salmon. Again, salmon. I had salmon for dinner. Okay, now let's look at the other word. Again here, there is no L. You do not pronounce the L. So you will just say almond. Almond. So again, the L is kind of silent, not as silent as with salmon, but it is silent anyway. So for example, you can say, I drink almond milk. So remember, with salmon, we do not pronounce the L. With almond, the L is silent or very, very light. Now, silent letters are tricky, but sometimes English is even stranger, and we can have a word with 5 letters, but only 1 sound. Let's look at this one. This word looks impossible. 5 letters, but the pronunciation is really simple. Q. Repeat after me, Q. Now, a lot of learners see all these letters and they try to pronounce too much. But in this word, all the letters are silent and it sounds exactly like the letter Q. So, we waited in a long queue. So in British English, we use Q, while in American English, we use line. So for example, we waited in a long line. So I know that English spelling isn't really very friendly. And the next word has, again, the same problem. It has letters that you can see, but you do not pronounce. This is the next word. So a lot of learners tend to pronounce the P, receipt or receipt, but the P is silent. So the correct pronunciation is receipt. Completely skip the P, receipt. For example, can I have the receipt, please? Now let's look at a word that changes spelling depending on British or American English, but in both versions, learners often make it too long when pronouncing. And look at these 2 spellings. Very confusing, isn't it? But the pronunciation is the same, and it is jewelry. Okay, jewelry. For example, she wears beautiful jewelry. So remember, not jewellery or jewelry, something like that. It's jewelry. Now, we've had silent letters, reduced syllables, different British and American spelling. Now, let's move on to words where spelling looks familiar, but the pronunciation is completely unexpected. Look at this word. How would you pronounce it? A lot of learners see the beginning and want to say things like chaos or chaos, but the correct pronunciation is chaos. Chaos. The important sound here is at the beginning. So CH, like in chair, here is K, is a hard sound. So you'd say chaos. The traffic this morning was complete chaos. Did you say ch or k at the beginning of that word? Let's look at the next one. Look at this word. This word is very tricky and the spelling can definitely mislead you. Many learners would say choir or choir, but the correct pronunciation is choir, completely unexpected. So repeat after me, choir, choir. So even though there is a CH at the beginning of the word, it is not the same sound as chair. It is a K, so choir. She sings in a choir. If you are still there, Your pronunciation is getting stronger, but now let's move on to the harder part of this video. The next word are not just tricky because of silent letters. They are tricky because of spelling sounds, and sometimes even the stress can completely change. So let's look at this word. Again, here we have a CH, which is pronounced in a different way. So we would say architecture, architecture. Again, the CH is pronounced as K, like chaos, and choir. An example sentence is, I love the architecture in the city. Now, let's move on to a word in English that is borrowed from French, but we pronounce it in a different way. So let's look at this word. How would you say it? A lot of learners would say something like genre. The correct pronunciation is genre. Okay, genre. Repeat after me, genre. The first sound is very important. It is not a hard G like in go. It is a soft sound like the S in measure. Okay, so genre. So what music genre do you like? Now let's look at this word. A lot of learners try to pronounce every letter they say. February. No. The real pronunciation of this word is February. Okay? February. Basically, you do not pronounce the R after the B. February. Okay. My birthday is in February. Let's look at the second last cluster of words. Now we have 2 more words left. And because we are the world, we have to talk about one of the most important pronunciation clusters for this channel. Let's look at these 3 words. They look simple, but learners get the pronunciation wrong. Let's start with the first one, which is word. The second is world. Now this is a little bit harder because you have to pronounce the R and the L together. World. And the last one is work. Now you can understand the difference. Word, world, and work. For example, let me give you some sentences. This word is difficult. The world is changing. I have a lot of work today. Now, for the final challenge, we're going to look at something that makes your English sound much more natural, and that is word stress. Now, this final section is not just about pronunciation, but it is about stress. So in English, the same word family can change stress depending on the form of the word. Let's look at this group of words. This word you would pronounce as photograph. This one you would pronounce as photography. This word as photographer, and this one as photographic. Did you hear that the stress is in different parts of the word? Photograph, the stress is on the first part. Photography, the stress moves to the second part of the word, like photographer. And photographic instead is right at the end. So for example, he has a great photographic memory. Now, before we close the video, let's look at 2 more very useful words where learners often put the stress in the wrong place. Now, look at this word. The correct stress is on the second syllable. So it is development. Okay, development. Example, professional development is very important. Now let's see if you get this word right. Okay, in this case, the stress is on the first syllable, is right at the beginning. Management, not management or other types. Management. Okay, an example is she works in management. We have got to the end of this video. We looked at 15 different words with difficult pronunciation. How many did you get right? How many did you know? Please let us know in the comments and tell us also which one is the hardest word for you. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe for more practical English videos. Thanks for watching and see you the next time.